US decides to rejoin UNESCO and pay back dues, to counter Chinese influence.
Here's a summary of the article.
Paris, UNESCO announced Monday that the United States plans to rejoin the UN Cultural and Scientific Agency, and pay more than $600 million in back dues, after a decade-long dispute sparked by the organization's move to include Palestine as a member. US officials say the decision to return was motivated by concern that China is filling the gap left by the US in UNESCO policymaking, notably in setting standards for artificial intelligence and technology education around the world. The Palestinian ambassador to UNESCO didn't comment on the US decision. UNESCO Director Azuleh, who is Jewish, won broad praise for her personal efforts to build consensus among Jordanian, Palestinian and Israeli diplomats around sensitive UNESCO resolutions. The Biden administration has already requested $150 million for the 2024 budget to go toward UNESCO dues and arrears. A UNESCO diplomat expressed hope that the return of the US would bring more ambition and more serenity, and energize programs to regulate artificial intelligence, educate girls in Afghanistan and chronicle victims of slavery in the Caribbean. The United States previously pulled out of UNESCO under the Reagan administration in 1984 because it viewed the agency as mismanaged, corrupt and used to advance Soviet interests.
This post received a score of 23,000, with an upvote ratio of 86%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
If Trump, DeSantis, or any Republican becomes president, the US will withdraw again from UNESCO for sure. And they will be surprised when Chinese or Saudi influence grows faster. The US has demonstrated time and again that when they just walk away from foreign aid, someone else will take their place, and it is usually not their friends.
Greater than, and they will be surprised when Chinese or Saudi influence grows faster. No, they won't. They'll pretend to be surprised, blame Dems, and collect payments for doing what they were told to do.
It's kind of interesting how there are certain types of politicians that prosper by actively spreading decay wherever they go. And what's even weirder is that there are people who look at them and don't see the pattern.
Because the GOP put their Kool-Aid in the drinking water and prevented the EPZ from doing their job to keep America's water clean.
America leaving and rejoining international orgs depending which way the wind blows. Then they act shocked when the rest of the world doesn't trust them to be consistent.
As much as people give Markin shit for his policies, he's right on Europe needing to be more independent of the US. Can't rely on the unreliable.
Macron dropped the ball in response to Russia though. By talking about the need to give Putin an off-ramp and not humiliate Russia, it sends the message to Eastern European countries that Paris can't be relied upon. As a result, in much of Eastern Europe they see the US as much more reliable than the French-German axis, not to mention Macron's earlier comments calling NATO a brain-dead organization. I get why France wants strategic autonomy, but Macron's own words and actions have also revealed that Paris is perhaps even less trustworthy than Washington to much of Europe, and that's a big deal.
The US can't be trusted to make any one single decision based off its divided electorate. Paris can be trusted to make decisions for Paris and only Paris. From an outside-looking-in view, it appears France is trying to make Eastern Europe solve Russia alone.
Which is terrible.
So it's a bit like working in a soup kitchen on Christmas, because you hope to bang the girl that is also working there, not because you give a fuck about the poor.
You know what, as long as the poor world is getting fed in this scenario and your attempts at coitus with the girl remain above board, honorable, I don't see a problem.
This is how many great deeds are done. So many things just to impress a girl. Also some bad. But I hope that if this is a reason, it's not the only reason. But if it is, then you are right. The world is still being helped. Let's not pretend China is doing it just from the goodness of their hearts. I don't believe China cares about anyone but China, and they are using this for greater influence for China. I don't blame them either.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.